stone.
I have complete confidence in the girl.
Oh, think how agonizing it would be. Suppose she's discovered.
She won't be.
If anything should happen tonight, I don't know what I'd do.
You could always rejoin your regiment.
This is no time for flippancy, Higgins.
The car is here, sir.
Oh, wonderful. Tell Miss Doolittle, please.
Yes, tell Miss Doolittle indeed. You know, I bet you that dress won't fit. I warned you about these French designers. We should have gone to a proper English shop where we'd have known the quality.
You worry too much, Pickering.
Miss Doolittle, you look fantastic.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Are you sure this girl will retain everything we've hammered into her?
Well, we shall see.
And if she doesn't?
Then I lose my bet.
You know, if it's one thing I can't stand about you, it's your confounded complacency. You act as though tonight doesn't matter at all.
What rubbish. Of course it matters, Pickering. What could possibly matter more than to take a human being and to change her into a completely different human being, just by creating a new speech for her? By George, it's enormously important. I say, Pickering. Lock up, will you? I shan't be going out again tonight.
What happened?
It was an immense achievement.
Yes, a lot of tomfoolery.
Wasn't Mr. Higgins the least bit nervous? Once or twice?
Not during the entire evening.
Not once I saw we were easily going to win.
Did no one challenge her?
Not at all. Just a lot of silly people who don't know their own silly business.
Quite right.
Do you need me anymore tonight?
Oh, it is getting very late. Can Miss Pierce go to bed?
Oh, yes, yes. Good night, Mrs. Pierce. Good Lord, what an evening. Where the devil are my slippers?
You know, the garden party was frightfully exciting.
Yes, for the first 3 minutes. Once I saw we were going to win hands down, I felt like a bear in a cage. The whole thing's been simple purgatory. Thank God it's all over. Oh, there they are they?
You know, some people, such fools, to think that speech like that comes by nature to people in their position, and so they never learn to do it the proper way.
Oh, yes. That's what drives me mad. But still, it's all over now, and I can go to bed without dreading tomorrow.
Yes, I think I shall. Turn in too, it's getting very late. Still, it's been an immense achievement, a success. So, cheers, and good night. Good night, Miss Doolittle.
Yes, good night. Good night. Oh, Eliza, do be a good girl and turn out the lights before you go to bed. And leave a note for Mrs. Pierce. Tell her not to make me coffee in the morning. I'll take tea instead. What's wrong? Get up. Anything wrong?
Nothing wrong with you. I won your bet for you, haven't I? It doesn't matter, I suppose.
You won my bet, you presumptuous insect. I won it. What did you throw those slippers at me for?
Because I wanted to smash in your face. I'd like to kill you, you selfish brute.
Why? Why have you begun going on like this? May I ask whether you complain of your treatment here? Has anyone behaved badly towards you? Colonel Pickering, Mrs. Pierce, any of the servants?
No.
I presume you don't pretend that I have treated you badly.
No.
I'm glad to hear it. Perhaps you're just tired after the strain of the day. Will you have a glass of port?
No. Thank you.
You know, this has been trying on you for some time now. I suppose it is only natural that you should feel nervous about the garden party, but all that's over now. There's nothing more to worry about.
No. Nothing more for you to worry about. Oh, God. I wish I was dead.
But why? In heaven's name, why? Listen, Eliza, all this irritation, it's purely subjective.
I don't understand. I'm too ignorant.
Well, it's only imagination. Nothing's hurting you. Nothing's wrong. You be a good girl now. Go to bed. Say your prayers. You'll feel much more comfortable.
I heard your prayers. Thank God it's all over!
Well, don't you thank God it's all over! Now you're free. You can do what you want.
What am I fit for? What have you left me fit for? Where am I to go? What am I to do? What's to become of me?
Well, that's what's worrying you, is it? Yes, well, I shouldn't worry about that if I were you. I don't suppose you'll have any trouble settling yourself somewhere, either. Though I hadn't quite realized you were going away. You might marry, you know. You see, Eliza, not all men are confirmed old bachelors like me and the Colonel. Most men are the marrying sort, poor devils. And you're really not bad looking. You're quite a pleasure to look at sometimes. Not now, of course, because you've been crying and you look as ugly as the very devil. But when you're quite yourself, and when you're quite all right, you're what I should call attractive. That is to men in the marrying line, you understand. I dare say Mother can find some chap or other who would do quite well.
We were above that corner of Tottenham Court Road.
What do you mean?
I saw flowers. I didn't sell myself. You've made a lady of me, and I'm not fit to sell anything else.
Don't insult human relations, Eliza, by dragging all this cant about buying and selling into it. You needn't marry the chap if you don't like him.
What else am I to do?
Lots of things. What about the old idea of a florist's shop? Pickering could set you up in one. He's lots of money. you'll have to pay for those togs you've been wearing tonight. That, with the hire of the jewelry, will make a big hole in 200 pounds, I dare say. Why, Eliza, 6 months ago you would have thought it a millennium before you could own a shop of your own. You'll be all right. But come, I must really clear off to bed. I'm devilish sleepy.
Before you go, sir,
Eh?
do my clothes belong to me or to Colonel Pickering?
Well, what the devil use would they be to Pickering?
You may want them for the next girl you pick up to experiment on.
Is that how you feel towards us?
Don't want to hear any more about that tonight. All I want to know is whether my clothes belong to me.
But why do you begin going on about this in the middle of the night?
Please, sir.
Well, you may take the whole damn house full if you like. Except the jewelry, that's hiding. Will that satisfy you?
Wait. You take these to your room. I don't want to run the risk of their being missing during the night.
I'll hand them over. These jewelries belong to me. Instead of the jeweler, I ran them down your ungrateful throat.
This ring isn't the jeweler's. It's the one you bought me in Brighton. I don't want it now. Don't you hit me!
Hit you? How dare you even suggest such a thing? You infamous creature, it's you who hit me. You've wounded me to the heart.
I'm glad. I've got a little of my own back anyhow.
You've made me lose my temper. A thing that has hardly ever happened to me before. I'm going to bed.
You better warn Mrs. Pierce about the coffee. For she won't be told by me.
Damn Mrs. Pierce. Damn the coffee. And damn you. And damn my own folly for having lavished my hard-earned knowledge and the treasure of my regard and intimacy on a heartless gutter snipe.
Freddie, what are you doing here?
Oh, I spend most of my time in the studio. Please don't laugh at me. I just simply love me painting.
Don't call me Miss Doolittle. Eliza's good enough for me.
Where are you going?
To make a hole in it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Freddie! You think I'm a heartless gutter snipe?
Oh, darling, why could you even think that? I simply adore you. I've written you several times a day telling you so.
You mean that? Will you meet me tomorrow?
Yes, anytime, anywhere.
Thank you. I know where I have to go now. I have to go alone.
And where's that?
To a friend's house. The only friend I fear I have now.
that be, mate?
You're just a common dustman.
Oi, what have you got against a lower class citizen? And in his cape and every drop he has to drink.
I've been entrusted to deliver a letter from a wealthy and well-respected gentleman in America to one Mr. Alfred P.
America? Who'd they sending me nothing from America?
A gent by the name of Ezra D. Wallingford has left you, Alfie, £3,000 a year in his will. He says he'll give you the chance to show us that Americans are not like us and that they respect merit in every class. By God, Alfie, you're a wealthy man.
I'm a rich man, middle class. I love to buy a big home and beautiful cows that'll feed me day and night, and lots of maids to cook and clean and buy me plenty of beer. All right. Middle class morality claims its victim. Middle class morality claims its victim.
Do you know what else this means, Alfie?
What?
Your missus is going to want a proper wedding.
What? I have to marry me wife?
Mr. Henry, ma'am, is downstairs with Colonel Pickering.
Well, show them up.
They're using the telephone, ma'am. Telephoning to the police, I think.
What?
Mr. Henry's in the state, ma'am. I thought I'd better tell you.
If you had told me that Mr. Henry is not in a state, it would have been more surprising. Show them up with a double telephone.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, go and tell Miss Doolittle not to come down until I send for her.
Yes, ma'am.
Now here's a... Mother, you wouldn't believe it.
Yes, dear, good morning.
Eliza's bolted.
Well, you must have frightened her.
Frightened her? Nonsense. She was left last night as usual to turn out the lights, and instead of going to bed, she changed her clothes and went right off in that fool Mrs. Pierce letter. What am I to do?
Do not be afraid, Henry. The girl has a perfect right to leave, if she chooses.
But I can't find anything. I don't know where anything is. I don't know where any of my appointments are. I'm lost.
Good morning, Mr. Higgins. Has Henry told you?
What did that ass of an inspector say? Have you offered a reward?
You don't mean to say you've sent the police after Eliza?
Oh, of course. What else are the police there for?
The inspector made a lot of difficulties. I'm guessing he suspected us of some improper purpose.
Well, of course he did. What right have you to go and give the girl's name as though she were a thief or a lost umbrella or something?
But
Really?
I want to find her.
You can say goodbye to her like this, you know.
You have no more sense either of you than two children, who I
Mr. Henry! A gentleman has been sent from Wimpole Street and very particular.
I can't see anyone right now. Who is it?
But Mr. Doolittle, sir.
Doolittle? You mean Dustman?
No, sir, a gentleman.
By George. This is some relative of hers that she's gone to. Someone we know nothing about. Send him in immediately.
Yes, sir.
Genteel relatives. Now we shall learn something.
Do you know any of her people?
Only her father, the fellow who told you about it.
Mr. Doolittle.
Boy, do you see this? You've done this.
Done what?
This, I tell you. Look at this coat. Look at this hat.
Has Miss Doolittle been buying you clothes?
Liza, not her, not her. Why would she be buying my clothes?
Good morning, Mr. Doolittle. Won't you sit down?
Beg pardon, ma'am. I'm that full of what's happened to me that I can't think of anything else.
But what on earth has happened to you?
It's not that it happened to me. Anything might happen to anybody, and nobody to blame but Providence. But what happened to me was done by you, Henry Higgins.
Have you found Eliza? That's the point.
Have you lost her?
Yes.
You've all the luck you have. She'll find me soon enough after what you've done to me.
But what has my son done to you, Mr. Doolittle?
Done to me, ruined me, destroyed me happiness, tied me up and delivered me into the hands of middle-class morality.
You're a raven. You're drunk. You're mad. I talked to you one time and gave you £5. After that, I haven't seen you since.
Oh, drunk am I? Mad am I? Did you or did you not send a letter to some old blighter in America who was given $5 million to found moral reform societies all over the world and wanted you to create a universal language for it?
You mean Ezra D. Wallingford? He's dead.
Yes, he's dead, and I'm done for. Now, did you or did you not write a letter to him saying the most original moralist at present in England, to the best of your knowledge, was one Alfred P. Doolittle, a common dustman?
I remember making some silly joke of the kind after your last visit.
May well have been some silly joke to you. Put the lid on me right enough. Gave them the chance to show that Americans is not like us, that they show and respect merit in every class of life, however humble. Them words is in his bloomin' will, Henry, in which, thanks to your silly joking, he leaves me a share in his pre-digested cheese trust worth £3,000 a year, on condition that I lecture for his Wallingford Reform League as often as they ask me, up to 6 times a year.
A safe thing for you, Doolittle. They won't ask you twice.
That ain't the lecture I mind. Lecture 'em blue in the face, I will, and not turn a hair. It's making a gentleman out of me that I'm opposed to. Who asked him to make a gentleman out of me? I was happy. I was free. I touched near nigh everybody feeling what I wanted it. Seems I touched you, Henry Higgins. Now I'm whited. Tied neck and heels, and everybody touches me for money. It's a good thing for you, says my solicitor. Huh, is it, says I. You mean it's a good thing for you, I says. Used to be when I was a poor man, and I had a solicitor. He'd find a proud of me dustcot and get off of me, and I off of him, quick as you could. Same with the doctors. Used to boot me right out of the hospital, where I could hardly stand on my own two legs and nothing to pay. Now they find I can't live unless they look after me twice a day. In the house, I'm not letting your hands turn for myself. Someone else must do it for me and touch me for it. 2 years ago, didn't have but 2 or 3 relatives in the world that speak a word to me. Now I've 50, and not a decent week's wages among the lot of them. I'm living for others, and not for myself. That's middle-class morality. You dark and lazy, Eliza, don't you be anxious. She'll find me soon enough after what you've done to me. And the next one to touch will be you, Henry Higgins. I'll have to learn middle-class language from you, instead of speaking proper English. That's where you come in, and I dare say that's what you've done it for.
But my dear Mr. Doolittle, if you are really in earnest, you need not accept this request. You can repudiate it. Isn't that so, Colonel Pickering?
Yes, I believe so.
Sure, I can say chuck it, but which one of us has the nerve? Intimidated, man, intimidated. That's what I am. What's to keep me between the skilly of the workhouse in my old age, except this £3,000 a year? Sure, if I was one of the deserving poor, I could, and put my bit, sure, I could say chuck it, but the deserving poor might as well be millionaires for all the happiness they never has. They don't know what happiness is. Have your men than me are going to touch me for my dust and then touch me for the tip. And I'll look on and envy them.
Well, I'm very glad you're not going to do anything foolish, Mr. Doolittle. For this solves the problem of Eliza's future. You can provide for her now.
I'm expected to provide for everyone out of £3,000 a year.
Nonsense. He can't provide for her. He shan't provide for her. Anyhow, the girl doesn't belong to him. I paid £5 for her. Now, show them either you're an honest man or you're a rogue.
Little of both, Henry, like the rest of us, a little of both.
When you took the money for the girl, you've no right to take her as well.
Henry, don't be absurd. If you really want to know where Eliza is, she is upstairs.
Upstairs? Well, I shall jolly soon fetch her downstairs.
Henry, dear, sit down and listen to me.
Very well, but you might have told us this 30 minutes ago.
Eliza came to me this morning. She spent the night partly walking around in a rage, partly trying to throw herself in the river and being afraid to, and partly in the car at the hotel. She told me of the brutal way you two treated her.
What?
Miss Higgins, she's been telling you stories. We didn't treat her brutally, we hardly said a word to her. And we parted on particularly good terms. Higgins, did you bully her after I went to bed?
Just the other way around. I never gave her the slightest provocation. I just walk into the room, and bam, my slippers hit me in the face. I never spoke a word to the girl, and she used the most perfectly awful language.
But why? What did we do to her?
I think I know perfectly well what you two did. The girl is naturally rather affectionate, I think, isn't she, Mr. Doolittle?
Very tender-hearted, ma'am. Takes after me.
Just she had become very attached to you both. She worked very hard for you, Henry. I don't think either of you understand what anything in the name of brainwork means to a girl like that. Well, it seems when the great day of trial came and she did this wonderful thing for the two of you, you spoke nothing to her, but talked together of how glad you were that it was all over and how you'd been bored with the whole thing in the first place.
We said nothing, except that we were tired and we wanted to go to bed, didn't we?
Yes, that was all.
You're quite sure?
Yes, that was all.
You didn't thank her, or pet her, or admire her, or tell her how splendid she'd been.
But she knew all that. We didn't make speeches, if that's what you mean.
Perhaps we were a little Reconsider it. Is she very mad?
Well, I'm afraid she won't go back to Wimple Street. But she is willing to meet on friendly terms and let bygones be bygones.
Is she, by George? Ha!
If you promise to behave yourself, Henry, I'll ask her to come down. If not, go home, for you have taken up quite enough of my time.
Oh, I see. Very well. Behave yourself, Piggery. Let us put on our best Sunday manners for this thing that we picked out of the mud.
Boy, Henry, have some respect for me feelings as a middle-class man.
Mr. Doolittle, would you mind telling me to step out onto my balcony for a moment? I don't want Eliza to have the shock of your return until she's made it up with these two gentlemen.
Of course, ma'am. And then to help Henry keep her off my ass.
Remember your promise, Henry.
I am behaving myself perfectly.
Ask Miss Doolittle to come down, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Henry, darling, you don't look at all nice in that attitude.
I was not trying to look nice, Mother.
It doesn't matter, dear. I only wanted to make you speak.
But why?
You can't speak and whistle at the same time.
How do you do, Professor Higgins? Are you quite well?
Am I
But
quite
of course you are. You are never ill. So good to see you again, Colonel Pickering. Quite chilly this morning, isn't it?
Don't you dare try this game on me. I taught it to you, and it doesn't take me in. Now come home and stop acting like a fool.
Very nicely put indeed, Henry. No woman could resist such an invitation.
Leave her alone, Mother. You let her speak for herself. You'll jolly soon see if there's an idea in her head or a word in her mouth that I haven't put there. I tell you, I created this thing out of the squashed cabbage leaves of Covent Garden. And now she pretends to play the fine lady with me.
Yes, dear. But you'll sit down, won't you?
Will you drop me altogether now that the experiment is over, Colonel Pickering?
Oh, you mustn't think of it as an experiment. It shocks me somehow.
Oh. I'm only a squashed cabbage leaf.
No.
But I owe so much to you that I should be very unhappy if you forgot me.
That's very kind of you to say.
It isn't because you paid for my dresses. I know you are generous to everybody with money. But it was from you that I learned really nice manners. And that is what makes one a lady, isn't it? You see, it was so very difficult with the example of Professor Higgins always before me. I was brought up to be just like him, unable to control myself, and using bad language at the slightest provocation. I should never have known that ladies and gentlemen did not behave like that if you hadn't been there.
That's only his way, you know. He doesn't mean anything by it.
Well, I didn't mean it either when I was a flower girl. But you see, I did it. And that's what makes the difference after all.
Still, he taught you how to speak. I couldn't have done that.
Well, of course. That's his profession.
Damnation!
It was just like learning to dance in the really fashionable way. There was nothing more than that. But do you know what began my real education?
What?
Your calling me Miss Doolittle that first day I came to Wimple Street. That was the beginning of self-respect for me. And there were 100 little things that you never noticed, because they came so naturally to you. Things about standing up and taking off your hat and opening doors.
That was nothing.
Yes. Things that showed you thought and felt about me as if I was something more than a scullery maid. Though, of course, I know you would have been just the same to a scullery maid if she had been let into the drawing room. You never took off your boots boots in the dining room when I was there.
Oh, Higgins takes off his boots all over the place.
I know. I'm not blaming him. It is his way, isn't it? But it made such a difference to me that you didn't do it. You see, really and truly, apart from the things that anyone can pick up, the dressing and the proper way of speaking and so on, what truly makes one a lady is not how she behaves, but how she is treated. I shall always be a flower girl to Professor Higgins, because he always treats me as a flower girl, and always will. But I know that I can be a lady to you, because you always treat me as a lady and always will.
Please don't grind your teeth, Henry.
Well, this is all very sweet of you to say, Miss Doolittle.
I should like you to call me Eliza now, if you would.
Yes, Eliza, of course.
And I should like Professor Higgins to call me Miss Doolittle.
Oh, so you damn first.
Henry, really?
I know you slang back at him. It would do him a load of good.
I can't. I could have done it once, but I can't anymore. Last night, when I was wandering around, a girl spoke to me. I tried to go back to the old way with her, but there was no use. You told me, you know, that when a child is brought to a foreign country, it picks up the language and forgets its own. Well, I am a child in your country. I have forgotten my own language and can speak nothing but yours. That's the real break-off from the corner of Tottenham Court Road. Leaving Wimpole Street finishes it.
Oh, but you'll come back to Wimpole Street, won't you? You'll forgive Higgins.
Forgive me? Will she, by George? Let her go. Let us see how long she can last without me. She'll relapse into the gutter in 3 weeks without me at her elbow.
He's incorrigible, Eliza. You won't relapse, will you?
No. Not now. Never again. I don't think I could utter one of the old sounds if I tried.
Victory!
Can you blind the girl? Don't look at me like that, Eliza. I've come into money.
You must have touched a millionaire this time, Dad.
I have. But I'm dressed something special today. I'm going to St. George's, Hanover Square. Your stepmother's gonna marry me.
You're going to let yourself down to marry that low common woman?
He ought to, Eliza. Why has she changed her mind?
Intimidated, Governor. Intimidated. Middle-class morality claims its victim. Why don't you put your hat on, Eliza? Come and see me turned off.
If the Colonel says I must, I suppose I'll demean myself. And get insulted for my pains like enough.
She never comes to words with anyone now, poor woman. Respectability has broke all the spirit out of her.
Well, just to show that there's no ill feeling, I'll be back in a moment.
I'm uncommon nervous about the ceremony, Colonel. I wish you'd come and see me through it.
But you've been through it before, haven't you? When you married Eliza's mother.
Who told you that, Colonel?
Well, I concluded naturally.
That ain't the natural way, Colonel. That's the middle-class way. My way was always the undeserving way. Just don't tell Liza. She don't know. I've always had a delicacy about telling her.
Well, okay, we'll leave it at that.
So you'll come to the ceremony then, and put me through straight.
With pleasure. As far as the bachelor can.
Might I come as well, Mr. Doolittle? I should be terribly sorry to miss your wedding.
I would take your condescension as a huge honor, ma'am. Me wife would take it as a tremendous compliment. She's been down lately, thinking of the happy days that are no more.
I won't be more than 15 minutes. Eliza, I'm going to the church to see your father off. You should come in the brougham with me.
position somehow.
Before I go, Eliza, do forgive Higgins and come back to us on Wall Street.
I don't think Papa would allow me, would you, Dad?
They played you all for your cunning, like Eliza. Them two sportsmen. If there had been one, you could have nailed him. But you see, there were two, and one of them chaperoned the other. I hold no malice, Colonel. Might have done the same myself as I was you. Been taken advantage of by woman after woman all my life. Well, time for us to go, Colonel. So long, Henry. See you at St. George's, Eliza.
Do forgive him, Eliza. Come back to us.
Well, Eliza. Well, Eliza, you've had a bit of your own back, as you call it. Have you had enough, and are you going to be sensible? Or do you want any more?
You want me back, only to pick up your slippers, and to put up with your tempers, and to fetch and carry for you.
I haven't said that I wanted you back at all.
Oh, indeed. Then what are we talking about?
Well, about you, not about me. If you come back, you shall be treated as you've always been treated. I can't change my nature, and I don't intend to change my manners. My manners are exactly the same as Colonel Pickering's.
It's not. He treats a flower girl as if she was a duchess.
Yes, and I treat a duchess as if she were a flower girl.
I see. Same to everybody.
Exactly so. You see, Eliza, the real question here is not whether I treat you badly, but really, whether you've ever heard me treat anyone else better.
I don't care how you treat me. I don't mind your swearing at me. I don't even mind a black eye. I've had one before this. But I won't be passed over.
Well, then get out of my way. I won't stop for you. You talk about me as if I were a motor bus.
So you are a motor bus, all bounce and go, and no consideration for anybody. But I can do without you. I don't think I can't.
I know you can. I told you that you could. You never stopped to think, I suppose, whether I could do without you.
Don't try to get around me. You'll have to do without me.
So I can. I can do without anyone. I have my own soul, my own spark of divine fire. But I shall miss you. I've learned something from your idiotic notions. I confess that humbly and gratefully. And I've grown accustomed to your appearance and to your voice. I like them rather.
Well, you've both of them on your gramophone and in your book of photographs. When you feel lonely without me, you can turn the machine on. It's got no feelings to hurt.
But I can't turn your soul on. Leave me those feelings and you can take away the voice and the face. They're not you.
You are the devil. You can twist the heart in a girl as easily as some can twist her arms to hurt her. But Mrs. Pierce warned me. Time and again, she has wanted to leave you, and you always got round her at the last minute. And you don't care a bit for her. You don't care a bit for me.
I don't and won't trade in affection, Eliza. You think I'm selfish because you couldn't buy a claim on me by fetching my slippers and binding my spectacles. Well, you're a fool. Think that a woman fetching a man's slippers is a disgusting sight. Did I ever fetch your slippers? Think a good deal more of you for throwing them in my face. It's no good slaving for me and then asking to be cared for. Who cares for a slave? If you come back for the sake of good fellowship, for you'll get nothing else out of me.
What did you do it for if you didn't care for me? You never thought of the trouble it would make for me.
Would the world have ever been made if its maker had been afraid of making trouble?
I'm no preacher. I don't notice things like that. I notice that you don't notice me.
I think you're a fool. Just for once and for all, understand that I go my way, and I do my work, and I don't care tuppence for what happens for either of us. So you can go back or go to the devil, whichever way you please.
What am I to come back for?
Well, for the fun of it! That's why I took you on!
And you may throw me out tomorrow if I don't do everything you want.
Yes! Yes! And you may walk out tomorrow if I don't do everything you want.
And live with my stepmother.
Yes, or sell flowers.
Oh. If only I could go back to my flower basket. I should be independent of you and Father and the whole world. Why did you take my independence from me? Why did I give it up? I'm a slave now, for all my fine clothes.
No, not a bit. I'll adopt you as my daughter and settle money on you. Or would you rather marry? Pickering.
I wouldn't marry you if you asked me, and you're nearer my age than what he is.
Then he is, not then what he is.
Oh, talk as I like, you're not my teacher now.
I don't suppose Pickering would, though. He's as confirmed old bachelor as I am.
That's not what I wanted, don't you think it? I've always had chaps enough wanting me that way. Freddie Hill writes me twice and 3 times a day, sheets and sheets.
Damn his impudence!
He's a right to advice, and he does love me, poor lad.
You've no right to encourage him.
Every gal has a right to be loved.
By fools like that!
Freddie's not a fool. And if he's poor, and weak and wants me, maybe he would make me happier than my betters that bully me and don't want me.
I see. So in short, you just want me to be as infatuated about you as Freddie Hines Freddie Hill, is that it?
No, I don't. It's not the sort of feeling I want from you. I want a little kindness. I know that I'm a common, ignorant girl, and you're a book-learned gentleman, but I'm not dirt under your feet. What I've done, did, wasn't for the dresses and taxes. I did it because I came to care for you. Not to want you to make love to me and not forgetting the difference between us, but more friendly like.
Well, of course. That's just how I feel. And how Pickering feels. And Eliza, you're a fool.
That's not a proper answer to give me.
It's the only answer you'll get till you come home and stop acting like a common idiot. If you're going to be a lady, then you're going to have to give up feeling neglected when the men you know don't spend half their time sniveling over you and the other half giving you black eyes. If you find me so cold and unfeeling and selfish, then very well, be off with you. Go find the sort of people you like. Marry some sentimental hog with a thick pair of lips to kiss you with and a thick pair of boots to kick you with. If you can't appreciate what you've got, well, you better just get what you can appreciate.
You are a cruel tyrant. I can't talk to you. You turn everything against me. I'm always wrong. You know I can't go back to the gutter as you call it. and that I have no real friends in the world but you and the Colonel. I think I must go back to Wimpole Street, because I have nowhere else to go to Falls. I'll marry Freddie, I will, as soon as he's able to support me.
Rubbish! You shall marry a governor, ambassador, general in the army. I'll not have my masterpiece thrown away on Freddie.
You think I'd like you to say that, but I haven't forgotten what you said a moment ago. And I won't be coaxed around as if I was a baby or a puppy. If I can't have kindness, I'll have independence. I'll go and be a teacher.
And what will you teach in heaven's name?
What you taught me. I'll teach phonetics.
Ha ha ha!
I'll offer myself as an assistant to Professor Nepean.
What? That impostor? That toadying ignoramus? Teach him my methods, my discoveries? You take one step in his direction, and I'll bring you the neck, you hear me?
Bring away! What do I care? I knew you would strike me someday.
Go!
Now I know how to deal with you. You can't take away the knowledge that you gave me. You said that I had a finer ear than you. And I can be kind and civil to people, which is more than you can. That's done you, Henry Higgins, it has. Now I don't care that for your bullying and your big talk. We'll advertise in the papers that your Duchess is only a flower girl that you taught, and she'll teach anyone just the same in 6 months for 1,000 guineas. And I think of myself crawling under your feet, and being talked down and trampled on, when only I had to lift up my finger to be just as good as you. I could just kick myself.
You damned impudent slut, you. But it's better than sniveling, isn't it? Better than fetching slippers and finding spectacles, isn't it? By George, what? I said I can make a woman of you, and I have.
Yes. You turn around and make up to me now that I'm not afraid of you and can do without you.
Well, of course I do, you little imbecile. 5 moments ago you were a millstone around my neck. And now you're a tower of strength, a consort battleship. I like you this way. You and I and Pickering shall be 3 old bachelors together, instead of just 2 old men and a silly girl.
The carriage is waiting, Eliza. Are you ready?
Quite. Is the professor coming?
Oh, certainly not. He can't behave himself in church. He makes remarks all the time on the clergyman's pronunciation.
Then I shall not see you again, Professor. Goodbye.
Goodbye, Peter.
Oh, goodbye, Mother. Oh, Eliza. Pick up a ham and Stilton cheese on your way home, will you? And a pair of reindeer gloves, number 8s. And a tie to match that new suit of mine. You can choose the color.
What are you to do without me?
I'm afraid you've spoiled that girl. But don't worry, dear. I'll buy you the tie and gloves.
Oh, don't bother, Mother. Eliza will get them right enough. Bye, Mother. Marry Freddie. Ha! Where the devil are my shoes?
Pygmalion up, and I was like, you know what? It's not much here lately, but let's do it. And so from there, with our team of 5, we expanded our group over the course of Snow White and Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and we put together what you saw today. And really, it was mostly Ben. Ben was the beginning of all of this. Next, I would like to thank our crew. Oftentimes in a show, you never get to see the crew members, and they are not the most underappreciated, but you don't realize how much work they put into a show. So I really want to thank Daniel Freeman for sound, Sabrina Briggs for makeup and hair and crew, and Nicholas Thompson for lighting. And next, we wouldn't be able to do it without our parents and our adult mentors. So I would like to extend a special thank you to Catherine Wilson Thompson and Jennifer Brunson for all their help. Next, will Samantha Gray and Steve Basket please come up on stage?
Sure.
These are our board of directors mentors, and try not to cry. Without them, we could not have done this. They were with us every single rehearsal, and they fought for us and made this show possible. I'm sorry.